Hey, good morning. It is Thursday, March 21st. I always look this way when I'm not sure what the date is, and there's no calendar, nothing over there, just my closet and my bathroom and the door out of my room. But let's pretend that that area tells me my hair is very poofy. I just cleaned it, washed and clean and all that, and it's very voluminous today. And it really needs, I want to dye it. I'm going to get it dyed next week, and that will be exciting. Just needs a pop of something. So, here's what's what. It is Thursday, my last day of class. How exciting. That reminds me I should take a last day of class picture. I took a first day of class picture. This is my last day of class. I need to do that right after. Yeah, last day of class, which is awesome. Law and regulation. I think we have a guest speaker coming in, and then we'll review our papers and seminar. So it should be a pretty cut and dry day. And in the interim, I will work on an outline for my gender paper. Yeah, and try to work some of that out, and then next week hopefully I'll get to talk to the professor and just review my outline, make sure I'm on the rightish track for things. Gotta put the work in for that one. So that is my mindset right now. I went for a run this morning. I slept 10, 11 hours. I slept a lot. Because let me tell you, I had a bit of a meltdown yesterday afternoon. I was trying to write, and I was just frustrated with everything I was writing. And I was, like I said yesterday, I felt like I had a bit of a cold, but at least today it doesn't feel like it. So maybe it was just tiredness. I don't know. But I was just so tired and so frustrated, and I almost started to cry out of frustration. I didn't actually cry, but I almost started to cry. I could feel welling occurring, and it was just, I was in a bad headspace. And so I shut it all down really early last night, and I went to bed, and I just was like, you're just going to sleep and wake up today and reset on things. So that is what I did. And I'm awake now. I'm feeling a little bit more clear-headed about things, which is nice. I think in the next couple of weeks, I need to monitor myself and make sure as I'm cycling through papers and writing and spending a lot of time in my own head, doubting whether or not I'm a good writer or I'm conveying my thoughts clearly. I think I need to do a lot to just psych myself up a little bit and give myself a confidence boost, because I definitely yesterday felt just like I was rubbish at everything, and like, what am I doing here? It was a spiral. It's like, what am I doing here? It's just not worth my time. Is this really what I want to be doing? I was just, every doubt started to creep into my mind, and I did not love that. And I think that will be some things I continue to work through as I write and study for my paper. So, there's that. I think it's important to be honest about those things, and it was not a good day yesterday, and I'm working on today and the next several days being much better days for me. So there is that, and because of that, I read this thing this morning when I was up really early because I went to bed so early. I was up in like movement at 6, which is nice. But I was reading this thing where someone was like for the day, define 3 things that you like about yourself or that you think you're good at. And I was staring at that, still a little bit in a sleepy haze. It's warm in my room right now. It's warm in my room because I just dried my hair and then I closed my window. But I was staring at that thinking about like, what is it that I like about myself? And I was in a sleepy haze and I was struggling to come up with answers, and then I committed at that moment to, in this video, discussing things that I like about myself. And I think it's hard sometimes for me at least, to own that I'm good at things, to be comfortable saying like, I think this is something nice about me or cool about me, or worthwhile to know about me, or that I contribute to the world, or at least my smaller community. So yeah, I am maybe too humble, which is not like a brag. I actually think that is a fault of mine. Sometimes I am slow to claim space for myself. So I am working on that always and forever. And it's something I've actually gotten better at. Like I know that, but like I started really bad at it. So like better means I'm still bad at it, just a little less bad than I have been before. So 3 things I like about myself for the day. Number 1, I am an empathetic person, and I try really hard to always react to people, react to situations, react to whatever is happening first with empathy. And I get annoyed with myself in situations where that's not my first reaction. And those are usually smaller situations, like when I'm annoyed with people walking slowly through the tube station and my annoyance peaks. But I am an empathetic person. I'm also really trying hard right now not to mitigate my speech and not to say I think I'm an empathetic person. Like, I know I am an empathetic person, and I work really hard to be kind and to be sincere in my interactions with people, and to be genuinely grateful and gracious when people are helpful, and to understand that, you know, people are human, and they are in any given moment experiencing just as much as I am, and maybe even more. So a very small example of this was this morning. I had to stop by the front desk in my building and check some mail stuff, and the person who was working at the front desk was up there by herself, and she was on the phone, and there were 2 other people there waiting, to ask her something or to get help with something. And when she got to me, she apologized profusely, and I was like, hey, no worries, like, I can wait, and also, like, you are here by yourself. And I told her, you're here by yourself, you are obviously doing the very best you can here by yourself, and just trying to reaffirm to people that, you know, I understand that they're doing the best they can. So I am empathetic, and I think that is good. Maybe other people don't value empathy as a trait, but I do value empathy. So that is trait 1. Trait number 2, or thing number 2, that I like about myself is that I am well-read and knowledgeable about a lot of things. I used to be pretty jealous of people who were like really specifically knew things in depth about one thing, but I found in my work and in my life that knowing like a good amount about some things, about a lot of things, is just as helpful. And I like being well read, and I like as much as possible like pushing my boundaries to learn more about things that I don't already know about. It can be pretty easy to stick in a lane. And sometimes I do that with things like podcasts. Like, I listen to a lot of political podcasts, but I try really hard to branch out, especially in my reading. This year is not the best example of it, but in a lot of ways trying to, I think people sometimes undervalue knowledge and undervalue knowing things, or are dismissive about knowing things. And I'm okay knowing things. I like knowing things, and I like having answers, and I like finding solutions. And I think being a good problem solver starts from understanding the breadth of information available to you, and understanding that you can and will find an answer. Like, you can dig and you can know things if you just commit some time and effort and energy to it. So I like that about myself. And another thing I like about myself, thing number 3 right now, let's see. I really am grateful that I'm trying to word it right. I know how to take strategic adventure. So coming to London was a strategic adventure. And I've gone on other strategic adventures, less to this scale, obviously. Well, I did move to DC for a year, and that was a pretty strategic adventure, but that was also a complicated one, dealing with running away from some things. Not for here now, but I think adventure is a good trait to have. Again, people might disagree with that, but I am grateful that I have the trait of adventure, and that I also have a family in their own way that encourages that adventure. So even though, my dad hasn't been on a million big abroad adventures, his life in a lot of ways has been a big adventure, and my sisters both encourage it in different ways, and grandma is always on board with whatever the adventure is, and believing that it's like the right choice. I think adventure matters, and I think it forces me to see the world in new and different ways, and it forces me to understand myself in new and different ways. And I don't know if there's anything that's more valuable than, and maybe it's connected to my desire to be empathetic, and my hope to be empathetic with people. But adventure, taking a risk, seeing a new part of the world, living in a new part of the world, being open to new experiences, really kind of opens myself up to deeper and better understandings about the world. And I like that. So those are 3 things I like about myself. An important activity after yesterday, where I felt really rubbish at really at life, which is ridiculous, because all things considered, I'm doing okay. That is Thursday. I will talk to you tomorrow. That's all I got. Make good choices.